Hey everyone, this is Laura Gadenik with Laura Gadenik Astrology, and I'm here to give you the astrology for the week of January 25th through the 31st, 2021. There's a decent amount of aspects this week, not as intense as the past couple of weeks, but still somewhat similar vibes. So starting on Tuesday, the 26th, we have the Sun squaring Uranus. So we've had a couple of other planets square Uranus over the past couple of weeks, and finally it's the Sun. So this is not a long aspect. It'll might be felt for a day or two or three, um, maybe just kind of accenting the energy of the past couple weeks. This energy of needing to break free from something, needing to break free from perceived constraints. Uranus is often about being authentic or letting a part of yourself show that might be considered weird or eccentric or out of the norm. So it's a good day to try to let yourself be seen, let yourself be seen in all of your weird colors. Definitely a day to break free from the normal routine. So do something different if you can, do something a bit out of the norm. Don't just follow the normal routine because likely you'll get bored and that might come out in a more negative way. Um, like rebelling against something, breaking the rules that there might be consequences. Um, this is a day where there's kind of just a restlessness. And honestly, it's kind of a week or just this is a time of restlessness because we do have all of these planets in Aquarius making a whole sign square to Mars and Uranus, who are both in Taurus. So it's just kind of a restless time period. I mean, I know the Mars conjunct Uranus last week, for me personally, had me extremely overwhelmed, and I felt like I might have a panic attack on like multiple days. Because I have like a thousand things going on because I'm in my Saturn return now. Yay. But anyway, um, so yeah, it's just kind of an overwhelming period of the year. And like I said, January and February are probably two of the more intense months of the year. So there's just this restlessness, and it's important to let yourself have freedom in some ways and go outside of the routine, do something different, but be careful about breaking free from everything and just leaving everything behind. Like, don't make your shambles of your life and leave everything, but do try to give yourself as much freedom and space as possible, and maybe even, um, you know, showcase something about you that you might have been embarrassed to reveal. So that's Tuesday the 26th. Once again, that'll probably be felt for the rest of the week. On Thursday the 28th, we have a full moon in Leo at 9 degrees of Leo. So thinking about whether you have planets at 9 degrees of Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, or Scorpio, this will be impacting you more so than just the normal person who or than a person who doesn't have a planet at that degree. Full moon is always about something coming to light because the moon is the planet that wanes and waxes in its light. And it represents our emotions, our unconscious, things that are usually hidden to us, um, our instincts. And so, as it's growing with light, something that might have been hidden or unseen could be suddenly realized or revealed, or there's clarity around something. There's this and it can be very subtle, especially if you don't have planets at the degree of the full moon or at the degree that's like squaring the full moon or opposing it. So it's not necessarily a huge aspect or a huge deal, but that's just something to think about in general is something coming to light or being revealed. Um, and also thinking about where is Leo in your personal chart? If you know the house that's being highlighted, then it's likely that something regarding those topics is coming to full light and being revealed, or you're gaining clarity around it. So Leo is expressive. Leo is bold, confident. Leo knows that they're fabulous, which in my opinion is awesome because more of us need to know that we're fabulous. So do something expressive on this day. Don't be shy. Don't be afraid to be the center of attention. Showcase something really special about you. Leo knows that Leo is special. Um, and Leo is the sign that is ruled by the sun, and the sun is who we know ourselves to be. It's our ego, it's our identity, it's healthy ego. It's this is me, this is my life's purpose, this is my path. So it's not unhealthy, or I mean, it can be, but it's not like inherently unhealthy to have ego. Um, yeah, and this full moon is happening between Saturn and Jupiter, both in Aquarius. Jupiter represents hope, optimism, and Saturn represents hard work, commitment, dedication, rules. So, something's coming to light that maybe you've been working really hard at. That's been a hope of yours. That's been kind of a dream. Okay, so then on the same day, on Thursday the 28th, Venus conjoins Pluto. So Venus is a planet about love, relationships, beauty, aesthetics, pleasure, fun, romance. And sorry, I said Venus is about those things. Pluto is about the depths. Pluto, every planet has its positives and negatives. Pluto can often reveal the rot in something or the gold. It kind of represents what's underneath the ground and what you have to dig for. And, what are you going to find? Skeletons or some gems? um, so we can apply that to all the Venusian things I just mentioned. So the more common one is relationships. So love might be felt very deeply on this day or this week. This is a great time to investigate relationships to uproot the rot or the gold. Once again, are you going to find skeletons or are you going to find gems? And if you find skeletons, that's not a bad thing. At least they're being revealed and now you can work on them. Pluto does tend to have this like obsessive compulsive quality. So if you're not in a relationship and you're like hardcore crushing on someone, this could be a day where you're just maybe a little bit obsessed in matters of love or pleasure. Or maybe you go too far with like um, matters of pleasure to the point where it's a bit self-sabotagey. This can definitely be a day of heightened jealousy, possessiveness, infatuation. Um, but, it is a really great time to go deep with a partner or with women in general. Venus does represent women and the kind of the feminine spirit. So not even if you're a transgender person, but you were born in a male body, you're male bodied, but you identify as a woman, then this is just about the feminine spirit. So feminine essence. So yeah, it's kind of a Thursday is kind of an intense day because of that full moon energy. Full moon also tends to be a bit crazy, hectic, chaotic, can feel a bit overwhelming. Like there's a lot going on, people are acting out. And that Venus conjunct Pluto is intense regarding Venusian topics. And on the same day, there's a lot going on this day, we have the sun conjoining Jupiter in Aquarius. So, Jupiter is pretty close to Saturn still. It's a couple degrees away. So there's still that Saturnine quality, especially since these two planets are in Aquarius, a sign that Saturn rules. So there's still this, sense of hopefulness, of optimism, of having faith in something, of having a dream of sorts and being hopeful enough to pursue it, but recognizing that there's hard work behind it, that there are still rules to follow, that it's not going to come easy, it's not going to be for free. So that's kind of a backdrop that I want to emphasize with the sun conjunct Jupiter, because normally this is a very hopeful, inspirational, adventurous, explorative day. And not that it's not that, it is that, but there's still that backdrop of, yes, but there are rules to play by, and or there are these steps to take to get there, or there's going to be consequences or costs to pursuing that dream. Like maybe you have to take out a huge loan, or you have to go back to school to pursue that thing, or there's kind of like this like level of reality, this level of grounding that Saturn in Aquarius brings. Um, but in general, the Sun conjunct Jupiter is studious, adventurous, explorative, experimental in the sign of Aquarius, especially hopeful, optimistic, spiritually motivated, and very generous. Um, and Jupiter does have this quality of wanting to be anywhere but here, very like needing to be out in the world, exploring foreign lands, distant cultures. Um, so it might just be a day where you're kind of wanting to explore in some way. And even if you can't, we can't just like go travel to like China or Thailand right now, obviously. So find some small ways to explore in your local neighborhood. Find some small ways um, uh, to fulfill yourself spiritually. This is a great day for studying, for thinking very big picture, so very broad minded about very broad minded topics or ideas like philosophy. Um, like I just started taking a course because I applied for the MSW program at the University of Utah. So I'm taking a prerequisite course in human development, and I think it'll be a great day for me to like get a lot of studying done or really kind of dive into that topic. Um, and Aquarius is also a sign representative of astrology. So if astrology is something that really interests you, great day to dive into astrology as well. So yeah, it's kind of, with the Sun square Uranus and then the Sun later conjoining Jupiter, there's still that vibe of needing to break free, of needing to get out and explore and adventure in some way, but still being somewhat held back by your situation or your commitments, etc. So it's really important to find those small ways to give ourselves that freedom or that sense of exploring, maybe even like going on a road trip or something to give yourself like a sense that you're breaking from the norm. But if you do go on a road trip, it's probably not the greatest time to start on Saturday because that is when Mercury stations retrograde. So probably road trip and like physically traveling after the Mercury retrograde. So this is Saturday the 30th. And Mercury retrograde does tend to involve travel delays, technology mess ups, miscommunications, um, like misreading things, missing the details, getting lost even if you're like driving in the middle of nowhere, you have no idea where you are, kind of just like, not seeing a sign, not reading the map correctly, zoning out and just like missing your turn, it can really mess you up. Um, So this is happening at 26 degrees of Aquarius on Saturday the 30th. It's going to travel all the way back to 11 degrees of Aquarius, where then it will station direct and start moving forwards again on February 21st. So the Mercury retrograde cycle is from Saturday, January 30th to February 21st. And it's kind of helpful to think back at when was Mercury first at 11 degrees of Aquarius? That was on January 15th. So if you think back to that time period, what was something that you might have been mulling over or thinking about or starting or, what was on your mind around that time? What was going on? Because it might have something to do with what you might be reflecting over or thinking about or reviewing during the Mercury retrograde cycle. Mercury retrograde, while it is kind of irritating and annoying on a very surface level, in a very surface level way, it can indicate delays, technology mess ups, like I said, miscommunications. It does also indicate a need to kind of go more within and reflect on what it is that you want with something, and this is going to highlight a particular area of your chart. So those topics are likely going to be up for review, whichever house is being highlighted. So, and Mercury retrograde can also indicate poor timing with something. Maybe you start something during a Mercury retrograde and just like all goes wrong. A lot of details were missed. You didn't like properly communicate, and it's kind of like biting you in the butt right now. That's kind of one very basic example. And so during the Mercury retrograde, you would kind of think oh, like what went wrong? Let me make a checklist. Let me maybe try again. Let me reconsider. Let me think through all the nuts and bolts of this project or whatever it is. Um, and then maybe trying again after the Mercury retrograde, or maybe you decide that you don't want to do the thing at all. It just represents poor timing of taking action on something, and really needing to rethink, reconsider, reflect upon whatever it is you are attempting. So, once again, the Mercury retrograde cycle is from January 30th to February 21st, and it goes from 26 degrees of Aquarius to 11 degrees of Aquarius, and then it starts stationing direct, turning around, and moving forwards again. And remember, thinking back to it was last at 11 degrees of Aquarius on January 15th, thinking back to that time period. And then Mercury is out of its shadow, meaning once it stations direct at 11 degrees of Aquarius, it it travels over the same degrees that it just traveled over twice. Once going in a forward direction, the second time going in a backwards direction, and the third time is going once again in a forward direction after it stations direct. And it passes that 26 degrees of Aquarius for the third and final time on March 16th. And this is called the shadow period, or this is what's called coming out of the shadow. So come March 16th, that might be the time where there might be some clarity around whatever it is you had been thinking about, reflecting on, reviewing. That might be a time to try again with a different plan, with a more thought out, organized plan. Maybe details finally come together that couldn't come together before. That might be a time of clarity around what you're doing, basically. Um, and that might be a time to start your road trip adventure. I mean, I kind of think that's my plan, to be honest, is to go on a little road trip and see some friends and just kind of get out of the city. So anyway, that's the Mercury retrograde starting on the 30th. I'd love to hear your experiences this week with the astrology and how it's impacting you and what's going on. If you feel like commenting, that's how I learn as an astrologer. I'm going to be opening back up for consultations come February. I think, at least hopefully. I already have quite a lineup. So if you're interested in a reading, reach out to me, message me. You can email me at consultation@lauragadenic.com and we can schedule something. Okay, well, I hope you have a fabulous Leo full moon week and that you have a great day. All right, bye.